Hey guys, welcome back to the All Gen Gamers podcast. This is episode 121, and we're recording this on Wednesday, November 28th, and I am joined by my lovely hosts. We're going to start with John, Gamester81. John, how's it going?
Good to be back. Doing well. How are you? How was your Thanksgiving?
It was awesome. It was awesome because my wife was out of town. I love my wife, but she left me alone in the house, and I played a crap load of games and kind of slacked. So it was awesome.
In the nude
with no pants on. Also joined by the other Jason Heine of the EMU Review. How's it going, buddy?
Going great. So, and your Thanksgiving was great, and I know that you were nude, and I know you played lots of games. So, what else is there?
Well, what did you do? That's the question. And how nude were you?
Well, always no pants. You guys know that.
Yeah. You got to keep the shirt on.
That's right.
No pants, definitely.
Yeah, got to be a pimp.
And a hat, I hope.
Yeah, of course.
Cool. And unfortunately, we are not joined by Mr. Pete Dorr because he has a great excuse for not being here. He is at a live Zelda concert, and we are very jealous.
What a bum.
That is cool. So it's like it's kind of like Star Wars in concert where they have the games and they play music to it, or I mean, how's that work? Is it like an orchestra? Or?
I think so.
What's a Zelda concert?
I think it's a whole orchestra. Yeah. Other than that, I'm not really sure.
Yeah, that's true. Supposedly it's an orchestra, although it'd be pretty cool if it was like a death metal band, like strobing lights and
right,
go-go dancers or something. But that's just part of my fantasy. So I don't know.
People like hanging from the ceiling upside down
in cages.
I like it.
Now I want to ask you guys this. Okay, we mentioned talking about Zelda concerts. What other concert would you like to see based on a video game? Like what soundtrack would you like to see like an orchestra do live?
The Metroid. Although a lot of people do that, but they do it sort of like rock style, right?
Mm-hmm.
Definitely Chrono Trigger.
Final Fantasy.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. Even Donkey Kong Country. I would love to see that.
Oh yeah, that's a good one.
Yeah, that'd be awesome.
Mm-hmm. That's I don't know. I would also say Star Wars, but they do that as well.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, Mad Max would be an awesome one too. I'd love to see that in concert. Pew 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 pew.
Yeah, it would be one guy standing there farting the whole time. That's all he would be doing, just ripping ass.
Hey, that reminds me is that over Thanksgiving, I went over to my buddy Paul's house and he upgraded all of his Rock Band instruments to the Pro model. Have you guys played around with the Pro instruments in Rock Band?
No.
Dude, they're nutty. So first of all, the guitar is completely redone. So it emulates, it has buttons, and it just feels like hundreds of them, but every fret and every placement is replicated on this Pro instrument. It's pretty crazy, but when you play the songs that way, you can truly play like a real guitar. I mean, it's kind of weird to get used to. But once you sort of see the tablature on the screen as opposed to just the notes, man, it was so much fun to do. But you reminded me because he also got the Pro keyboard, and that's a lot of fun too. And you can play it two different ways. So I'm not a keyboard player, but so I was playing on a little bit on the easy modes where basically it divides up the entire keyboard by fours, and then you just basically hit the left, center, or right, or whatever to emulate the different colors on the screen. But anyways, if you're into Rock Band, that's a lot of fun.
Wow, that's cool.
That's very cool.
Yeah.
He also got the Pro drum set as well. So we did that over Thanksgiving. So this reminded me of it.
That's cool. So are those like pretty expensive to buy then?
Surprisingly, no. He got the guitar for $55, I think.
Wow.
So I think enough time's gone by now that those instruments are fairly reasonable. And now the one catch is that you have to upgrade your songs. So Rock Band 3 comes with some Pro versions of songs to start off with. But when you go into the Rock Band store, you'll see that now you have these other options to upgrade your other songs. And I think it costs $1 or $2 to do that. But if you're serious about it, it's worth it because it really, if you're a real musician, it's taken it to a whole other level. It's pretty interesting. You can really learn to play guitar on it. It's not exactly the same, obviously, because there's no strings. There's buttons for every fret position, but you could really learn to play. So we were playing like a Rammstein song, and I was like, oh, this is in the key of A or whatever it was, and was able to sort of pick it up really quickly.
So it's like tablature, or what is it?
Yeah, it's just like tablature.
Oh, wow. Okay.
That's being rendered on the screen instead of those jewels that come at you. It's the number on the specific string. And as a matter of fact, down below, you know, in a normal Rock Band guitar where you have this little flip switch, you know, you have essentially 6 strings right there. They're not strings, but they're bendable pieces of plastic. And so you really want to play it with a pick because you're going to have to hit the correct representation of a string in order to hit that note and in the same position as above. And you also have to do chords and stuff too if you ratchet up the difficulty. It was pretty cool.
Yeah, that sounds insane.
That's sweet.
Yeah.
So anyways, a little side note there, but it just reminded me of how cool it was to play that.
Wow, that's cool. I kind of wish Rock Band was more popular. I love Rock Band. I think they just kind of came out too much at one time, you know?
Yeah, although, you know, when we have parties, that inevitably comes out. And so
It's a party pleaser for sure.
Yeah, and what I love about it is that anybody can really have fun with it, because even if you can't play an instrument, well, you can sing, you know what I mean? And we always put on no fail mode, so no matter how bad you are, we don't care. You're going to have a great time. And plus also too, we download songs from every genre. So when people show up, I don't care if you like the cheesy stuff, we've got it, you know what I mean? Or if you want to play some Anthrax or some hardcore, you know, death metal, we've got that too. So it's a lot of fun.
You know, in 50 years, what do you think people are going to remember? They're going to remember Guitar Hero, Rock Band.
Yeah.
You know, those are like staple names. It's like Tetris.
Yeah.
I bet your grandmas know what Tetris is.
Right.
You know, mine would if she was alive.
No, it is definitely a nice mix of, I don't know, I mean, most people love music, and so it's a nice mix of people who are really good, because I also really appreciate the people who come over and they're like fantastic, you know. But then it's fun that you can set the difficulty for each instrument and everyone can just have a great old time. It's definitely a cool program.
Didn't they just recently release like a DLC, like an Unplugged, or I forget what it was called, but it was kind of different. Like it was different kind of gameplay, right?
Yeah, they released Rock Band Blitz, I think.
That's it.
Which was a downloadable one. And I think in that one, I haven't played it, but it looked more like it was getting back to frequency.
Right.
You know how, or amplitude, I guess, where it's all controller based. Which actually I like too, because the first game I played was Amplitude, and I played the hell out of that game. I loved it. You know, definitely more electronic based, but the songs on it were really killer. So I don't know if you've ever played that, John, but if you have a PlayStation, well, you have a PlayStation 2. You should definitely check it out.
Yeah, I've heard about it. I know Pete's talked about it before in his podcasts and stuff. So, and the one for the PSP is very similar.
Yes.
Gameplay as well, right? Yeah.
Yep. I think that's probably what Blitz is. It's probably just a modified version of the PSP version with maybe some different types of power-ups or backgrounds or something. But I think the gameplay is pretty solid, and they've been sort of building on it ever since, you know. Are
they still making, like, coming out with new songs for, because I know for Rock Band, like, they were for a while, every week they had new songs. Are they still coming out with new songs for Rock Band?
Yeah, so this weekend we went through it again. Well, and what's cool about Rock Band is there's 2 types of song submissions. So they have the ones that Harmonix makes, and then they have this entire network, and I forget what they call it, but basically it seems like other people are able to create songs for it, because you go into the music store and you see a ton of like hardcore metal tunes in there. Wow. And it is part of their network. And so I don't know if record labels are creating it or what, but so to give you an idea, yeah, they definitely are releasing normal or, you know, sort of popular music as well. Cause I forget what I bought, but I'll usually look in there and I'll see something by some 70s or 80s artist, and I'll be like, oh, you know, snag that if I have a couple bucks in my account. I did that recently. So, yeah, it's still alive and kicking.
I'll tell you my first memory of seeing just Guitar Hero, just the whole genre itself. I was at a Best Buy, and I remember playing it for like an hour and a half at Best Buy. Like on demo, and I'm like, I was just blown away. And this is Guitar Hero 1, right? And even just looking at that game compared to what they had, you know, later on, those were covers. Like cover bands were covering a lot of that music. You know,
that's right.
You know, so but it was still, I was just blown away. And you know, they just took it to the next level as far as Rock Band goes, because they had the keyboard, the drums were huge. I remember the drum set coming out; that was awesome.
Yeah, yeah.
Good times, man. That's awesome.
Yeah.
I think the Beatles set, when it came out, was like one of my favorite launches. I'm a big fan of the Beatles, and it was cool to see them have like the set and stuff too. It's pretty cool.
Yeah, and that version I really like as well. And people who like Rock Band should give that a go, because they completely updated and changed all the graphics for that game. I mean, it just, I love how psychedelic it is. It goes through the history of the Beatles. You're in the black and white kind of 60s mod version, and then it goes into the psychedelic era. It's such a love letter to the Beatles.
Oh, it's awesome. And then, you guys mentioned Lego games earlier. I think previous podcasts were talking about how you guys are fans of Lego games, but they have a Lego Rock Band, which I know you guys have checked out too, but you can get it dirt cheap, new.
Make sure to follow us, the All Gen Gamers podcast, on Facebook and Twitter. Subscribe to us on YouTube and in iTunes. And don't forget about those iTunes ratings, guys. We appreciate those. And for all other info, links, and our forum, please visit www.allgengamers.com.